It's the most wonderful time of the year. What's going on, Geeks and Geekettes? It's another episode of the Countdown City Geekcast. My name is Steady. Joining me on this San Diego Comic-Con halfway special is the one and only Matty B.
Yoo-hoo! Let's go, boys.
And last but never least, on loan from the Countdown City WrestleCast is Big Mike.
What's up, guys? I'm Big Mike, and we are trucking through 2022 Electric Boogaloo as we come to the special San Diego Comic-Con edition of the Countdown City Claudio cast, as everything will be named that I'm on from now on.
That's a great shirt, by the way. That is a fantastic shirt. Once again, this is going to be our San Diego Comic-Con Day 1 and Day 2 recap. That's going to be the first half of our show. At the second half, we're going to be speculating what Marvel and DC announcements we're going to be getting tomorrow, because as everybody knows, the biggest day at Comic-Con is Day 3, Saturday. That's when Warner Brothers as well as Marvel have their big Hall H panels, which is unlike anything else you can experience. We want to hear from you guys. If you're watching the show right now, say what's up in the chat. Let us know what you're excited about seeing tomorrow during either the DC or the Marvel panels, or if you've been keeping up with San Diego Comic-Con, if you've been following us on social media, let us know what you've enjoyed so far. We want to hear from you guys. Say what's up in the chat. And again, let us know. First off, let's start with Thursday. Very exciting week. San Diego Comic-Con. Again, it's like unlike anything else. Please go if you get a chance. Day 1, the biggest news that came out of Day 1 was the Dungeons and Dragons trailer. You could find that on our social media pages, as well as the new poster for it. I think 2 posters dropped, actually. It features Chris Pine as well as Michelle Rodriguez. A very interesting duo, if you ask me, for a fantasy film. But I'm not going to lie, Chris Pine, arguably the most charming dude in Hollywood. There's probably nothing that I wouldn't watch with Chris Pine in it. So I'm eager to see it. Mike, did you have a chance to catch the trailer for Dungeons and Dragons?
I have, and it looks pretty interesting. I mean, I think it's Stranger Things playing a part in it, but also just as nerd culture has kind of become more prominent in mainstream, D&D just getting more and more kind of recognition. I mean, there's a lot of YouTube shows and Twitch channels of like people gaming and campaigning that have gotten big over the years. So I know there was a movie a while ago with one of the Wayans brothers. I remember it being, but this looks interesting. I think Hugh Grant's also in this, if I'm not mistaken, right? Is it Hugh Grant? Am I thinking right?
Hugh Grant, you're right.
Yeah. So interesting cast. And I mean, I'm not someone who's actually had a chance to really play Dungeons and Dragons, but I get the idea of it. You know, you kind of get the idea of the fantasy and the different classes and type of characters. So it looks fun. Bold claim, Chris Pine, the most charming man. Not that I don't think he is, but that's a bold claim with Hollywood. I'm just saying it may need to be discussed.
Who's more charming than Chris Pine today? Let me know who you think. I want to know. I want to hear it.
More charming than Chris Pine?
Hemsworth?
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, Keanu Reeves might be the most charming person of all time.
Oh, there you go. I was just sticking with Chris names.
He's
Keanu Reeves is very charming.
Keanu's the most humble dude in Hollywood.
I would say humble. Sure. I would say humble is 2022's new charming.
I'll go with it. That sounds good. Matty B, your thoughts on Dungeons and Dragons, the cast or the trailer? Anything that interests you at all, sir?
I think it looks cool. The trailer was a little bit more campy than I thought that the show might look. But the one thing that I really hope that it avoids, I don't want it to feel like Jumanji. I don't want to start off in the beginning of this game where they're, finding this old game their dad used to play. And all of a sudden they get warped into this universe. And I feel like that's how they're probably going to try to set it up. But, I mean, who knows? I like the trailer. Again, nerd culture coming through. Again, I'm totally cool with that. I love to play off Stranger Things. Just really smart timing by the studios. Mm-hmm. and it looked like there was some money in it. I mean, it didn't look bad. It was just a little campy. I just hope that I hope it's not Jumanji.
I get that. Yeah.
I get that as well, so I'll go with that. Again, that was the most exciting news that sort of came out of day one. Day one's really just about people getting their exclusives and everybody getting the lay of the land and all that. The panels get bigger and better as time goes on. So there's a lot of other news that came out, but sort of smaller on our priority list. But if you want to check that out, there's some additional things that happened on Thursday on our Facebook page. Let's get into SDCC San Diego Comic Con Day 2, which was today, Friday. And I'm going to start off with something that probably doesn't interest a whole lot of folks these days, but I'm going to see it through all the way. So I'm going to talk about it. AMC announced today that Andrew Lincoln and Denai Gurira are going to finish their Walking Dead franchise pretty much with a limited series spin-off. Okay? So for those of you that like gave up on Walking Dead like years ago, they're going to finish it out. They're going to finish the ride with a limited series spin-off featuring the two of them. So Michonne and Rick Grimes are going to have a limited series on AMC Plus. This is going to debut in 2023, so next year. And this is going to actually replace the previous announcement that came out like San Diego Comic Con years ago that Rick Grimes was going to have sort of a full feature movie, a film that was going to come out, I think, on TV still. So I'm kind of liking that they're going to do a limited series instead because I don't want to see a rushed project with Andrew Lincoln in it. To me, it's just better that he a limited series, more time to flesh out this character. If you don't know where the characters are today or how they got where they left off as a couple, I don't want to spoil it for you, but I will see it through. I absolutely will. I started with this show. I'm gonna finish it whether I like it or not. It doesn't matter to me. Maddie B, I'm guessing you're sort of one that might have fell off the
I
Walking
didn't.
Dead train years ago.
No, I didn't fall off. At some point,
No.
I had to choose my ending date. How long can you keep a zombie movie going? I mean, a show, whatever. How long can you keep it going? I mean, and no, not one zombie show has ever or movie has ever answered this question. What happens when zombies don't eat? Like
They decay
okay, so great.
even more.
During this time, I mean, I would say a vast majority of these zombies can't eat because one human would be eaten really quick by maybe a few of them. You're talking about, I mean, there's just no way it would work. I don't know. I'm not a big zombie movie guy. I stopped after about season 4 of Walking Dead, and it was great. It was incredibly good. But how long can you keep a zombie story going?
I hear you. I hear you. And I don't blame anybody that stopped watching this show. I don't. I feel like when it peaked, everybody felt the peak and they were like, okay, it's
Yeah.
all downhill from here. So like half the viewership just bailed. So I totally get it. Big Mike, did you ever keep up with The Walking Dead? Or
I'm
you
pretty
sort of
similar to Maddie. First of all, though, Steady, I do want to say I thought for the first glance you were holding hands with Rick Grimes there in that
I did
picture.
too. I
I
I
thought
thought
was
that
that
was,
was an
trying
hey,
intimate
to.
oh,
photo.
I thought
I
it was
was
gonna be like,
Intimate
trying
thank
photo.
to.
you. But no, yeah, like I mean, honestly, like it seemed really cool. My wife and I had gotten into it first couple seasons. She stayed with it longer than I did. I think I went about 3 or 4. And for me, at least those early couple seasons, after a while, I was like, okay, it's the same plot every season. Get to a place, start living there, have issues, get overrun, go to a new place, kick the people out that are there already because they're bad people. And I was like, okay, so yeah, I did kind of get out pretty after a couple seasons, but I do like those characters for what it's worth. If limited series seems to be the new trilogy,
Sure.
to to kind of tell your story longer, which is fun. So maybe, I mean, I think I would check it out just to kind of see what they do with it. I didn't make it to where Rick wrote off the show or whatever. I heard about it, like I remember hearing people talking about it. but I liked this character and I liked hers. So, if it's a limited series, if it's on one of the streaming shows or even through AMC, I'll probably check it out when it comes out. So,
Yeah, AMC Plus. So the
um,
streaming wars continue. This will be on
uh,
AMC Plus next year, and let's just assume fall of 2023 because that sort of fall release is where The Walking Dead is usually
yeah.
saved its spot, if you will. So Rudy's in the chat. Rudy said, "What it do? What's going on, Rudy? Good to hear from you, brother." And yes, this is my humble brag of my selfie with Denai and Andrew back in 2018, the last time that I attended San Diego Comic Con, but it was a glorious time, the best time I ever had. All right, we got a lot of Marvel news to get into, so if anybody's still here waiting for the Marvel news and information, well, we're about to get to it. But first, a proud message from our sponsor, and by sponsor I mean ourselves. Up now in the Geekcast Geek Shop, you can own our brand new Real Geekcasters Chi. Choose from a variety of colors, whatever you decide, as well as a variety of styles. I'll put the link in the chat for the shirt. There's also other T-shirts. You've seen some of them from previous streams that we've had, but you can go to any one of these designs, choose a color to try out what you think looks best, choose from a variety of sizes, and then there's also over 2 dozen different styles of teas. So click on view this design on the rest of the products and look at all the choices you have, even for the babies and the toddlers. My little princess is getting one tonight. We are ordering her Geekcaster shirt tonight. She's already asked for it in a hoodie, so how can I say no? But I'll put the link in the chat to the shop. Appreciate those of you who've already visited the shop. We've had a bunch of likes on the store, people just liking the designs, liking the styles of the shirts, and a few orders. So appreciate you guys immensely. Everything that you purchase goes towards supporting the show for all the expenses that we have. So we really appreciate you guys tremendously. All right. I'm
100%. And
There we go.
we should actually do a little recording where it's like you remember when PBS back in the day when you're watching PBS, and PBS is brought to you kindly by our sponsors. And then
by the
you go,
letter B.
yeah, then you go into Reading Rainbow. That's what I'm talking about.
And by the color green, 'cause he needs some money.
The color green.
Oh my gosh. All right. I'm actually putting the link in the chat right now for the Geek Shop.
Bingo bongo.
Boom. All right. And now for Marvel animation news. And there's a bunch. So you guys hang on tight. This isn't going to go in any sort of order. Just going to kind of call it out as it was dropping. The first of which was a adorable trailer and a brand new poster for the I Am Groot series, which is actually the next series I think to drop on Disney Plus from Marvel. So the I Am Groot series. Look at that poster. Oh dear God, it's so adorable. It is a limited series. It's sort of original shorts. They've done this with a lot of Disney characters. The most recent was Baymax, which is a great sort of limited series of shorts. They've also done it with Forky from Toy Story. If you get a chance, if you have little ones, or if you're an adult that likes to check out those characters, I don't no judgments here. You can go check those out. But I Am Groot's going to be for the next one, so they might be shorter episodes, not like full length 25 or 30-minute or hour-long episodes. They're probably more in the 10-minute or 12-minute range. There's probably going to be like a dozen or less. But if you haven't had the chance to check out the trailer for it, it's absolutely adorable. And I have no idea where this takes place because there's so many different creatures that Groot's sort of running into. And this is, kind of in the past because Groot's already a teenager in the MCU. So this is definitely something that is taking place sort of way back in time as far as the MCU goes. But yeah, Matt or Mike, either one of you guys check out the Groot trailer.
I did, yeah.
What do you think about
Yeah,
it?
no, it looks fun. I mean, like you said, I guess this is supposed to be sometime stuff that goes on between Guardians 2 and Avengers Infinity War. And I think it's going to be maybe, I thought I saw 6 episodes, but it
That
just looks
sounds
like
right.
something
Yeah.
fun. Honestly, probably also geared more towards kids and stuff. But like it's just going to be fun. I don't think if you miss it, you're gonna lose anything from the MCU right now. I don't think. I would assume there's not going to be some post credit scene, right, where Kang or something you know gets dropped in out of
Galactus
nowhere, right?
shows up and
Silver
destroys a
Surfer in the
planet that
background.
Groot's on.
So it just looks like fun. Groot's an interesting character because we've kind of seen him through all these different phases. Like we started as Big Tree Groot, and then he sacrifices himself, and then we got the baby Groot, then he was teenager Groot. So, I mean, yeah, I think it's just meant to have fun. I don't, not something you need to like analyze and break down. So it looks fun. I'm sure I'll watch it when it comes out.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now we get into some things that we're a little bit more familiar with, but that's also been announced by Marvel Studios. What if season 2, which originally was going to drop this year, late 2022, but has been moved back a little bit and will now be released in early 2023. They've also confirmed there will be a third season. So if you like the What If series, a third season is well on its way, and you'll be excited for that. If you're not into What If at all, I do apologize. It's not our decision, but we do like it. So a variety of stories will be included in the second season of What If, including a story of Hela, Odin versus the Mandarin, Captain Carter meeting the Winter
Wow.
Soldier, and Tony on Sakaar with Valkyrie and Hulk. So pretty interesting there. And Mike, I know you're a huge Marvel fan and you enjoyed most of the What If episodes. How
Yeah.
excited are you for season 2?
I'm looking forward to it. I was never a big comic collector much. I mean, I've admitted that anytime we've talked about Marvel. I collected cards. I watched all the different cartoons from X-Men to Spider-Man, stuff like that. But I never really got into the comics as much. But there were a handful of what ifs that I remember getting. Like one of them was, what if Wolverine was king of the vampires or something, and like the Punisher goes after him. It's really crazy. So I like these stories of taking the things we know from the movies and then just flipping them up a little bit. There was a lot of fun stuff that came out of season one. At least I thought it was. I liked the Black Panther character, but instead he was Star Lord, so was he Star Prince or something? Um, you
Yeah.
know, all the stuff with Ultron actually was kind of cool. We got that first glimpse at like a dark Doctor Strange that wasn't exactly the same Doctor Strange from Multiverse of Madness, but was like a very similar idea. So, I mean, again, same thing. I don't think if you watch it or if you don't watch it, you're going to miss anything from the MCU because it's not intended to be in our main, the main, I guess what they're calling 616 now. Um, Although I didn't get to go on that last show when you talked about Miss Marvel, the lead actress of Miss Marvel is not happy that Kevin Feige calls it 616 because she knows and she knows what's up. But
Ooh, ooh. It's so confusing. I'm not even sure Marvel knows exactly what they're doing, and that's not a criticism of Marvel. I think they're trying to keep things sort of open in case they decide to make some changes down the road, So we're
yeah,
not trying to pave anything and set it in stone. They're trying to keep some flexibility for whatever reason they know, and we're gonna find out later.
yeah.
Maddie B, what if? How
Yeah.
excited for you about regarding season 2, and which one of those stories sort of tickles your fancy the most?
I like the last episode with Tony. And separating them off the Hulk. Anytime those two are together is It's going to be magic. My thing, and I liked season 1 of What If too. I think it's a very cool, creative way for them to take some of these ideas that writers may have when they're writing the movies that get shut down because they're like, well, this is not going with the canon that we're going with. It's a great story or whatever it might be. And it kind of filters down into a what if, episode
Yeah.
where it's like, we could try that. I really like that idea, but and that's why I kind of wondered about What If in the first season. And I haven't found clarification on it per se, but is this just like they take this idea to the writers and say, hey, we're going to do what if scenarios, you submit your best ones? Or is it that they're filtering down ideas they're not using in movies to, make this property of what if? So I'm not sure. I'm super excited about it. I love them all. I love, not actually having to follow a story, just kind of catching up with something new each time. I'm stoked on it. And you get a lot of creative ideas from these that you can't necessarily do with canon.
Absolutely. And it's even sort of more interesting when they're kind of toying with canon, because we were sort of unsure if some of the multiverses they visited in the first season were actually part of our MCU 616 asterisk until
Yeah.
Marvel decides to be 100% transparent about what they're doing. But I love season 1 mostly because the challenge was creating sort of all these stories and then bringing all these arcs together towards the end of the season. And huge challenge. I felt like they stuck the landing. It was so interesting. It was a great team up sort of episode towards the end. And do they do that again? Are you just repeating the same format, or are they going to try to do something else? I feel like if you do the same thing, fans might get a little tired of it, might get a little redundant, so they'll probably kind of stretch the legs a little bit and flex and see what else they can get done. It is an animated version, so I feel like there's no limit to what they can do, and they're going to run as far as it can with that. Not only regarding the What If series, but also the Marvel
Woo!
Zombie
This
series.
is fun.
Yeah.
And we have a bunch of information regarding this series that you're going to be extremely surprised about. First off, gentlemen, this is going to be rated TVMA. That's right, folks.
Really
Arguably the
Yeah.
first TVMA Marvel Studios project to be
interesting.
released on Disney Plus, unless a movie or something else drops on there before that's Marvel Studios,
Yeah.
sort of a primary project of theirs. This will be the first one so far. So TVMA, it's going to drop in 2024. So you do have a little bit of time to wait. But other than that, new survivors on in this series are going to be Yelena, Kate Bishop, Jimmy Woo, Shang-Chi, Kamala Khan, Death Dealer, Red Guardian, and Aquafina's Katie. And I do believe there's a photo of those survivors. So let me
There
pull
was,
that up
yeah.
right
I don't know if you
quick.
have it, but I did see one.
I think it's on Instagram somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll go pull it up in a bit.
Yeah, but I
Mike, your
can't say.
thoughts
Oh,
on
yeah.
the go for it.
Oh,
Mac, you go first, man. Your thoughts on the Marvel Zombie series.
I just want to throw it out there. I know I talked smack on zombie stories earlier, so I don't want to seem like I'm double crossing myself here. But I'm all in for this story. Whenever it's Marvel, it's animated, it's a whole different vibe as opposed to a live action series.
sure.
I'm incredibly excited that when I heard the TVMA news earlier today, I hope they, that means there's probably going to be some gore. There's going to be some, tough scenes to watch. And with that animation style and what they could potentially pull off with this and capturing, they like to cast a wide net. Marvel does. We got Groot and we got Marvel Zombies. So we got a kid show and a TVMA show, mixed in with everything else. So, I like this wide net that they're casting. I like that you can put the kid to sleep with Groot and then turn on Marvel Zombies, for mom and dad once the kiddies go to bed. So I love it. I love stepping into that realm, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. I trust them completely.
Mike, how do you feel, sir?
Yeah, no, I mean, this looks fun. The Marvel Zombies What If episode was a really good episode. And I also like that these survivors are mostly from the phase 4 of stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the original six. I love the original group that we've been through in the Infinity War. But I've also enjoyed a lot of these individual characters that have been introduced in phase 4. And I know not all of them are probably going to have the actual actor or actress be their voice. Um, but in real life, like movie wise, I'm looking forward to Shang-Chi and Kamala Khan and Kate Bishop and Yelena Belova, all those interacting um, in real life in the movie. So, this seems like it's going to be at least a little bit of a preview of that, even though it won't be the actual actors or actresses. They also have, I think, one of those pictures is like the zombies that they had that are going to be zombified so far. And I didn't know about the TV mature, so I agree. I assume that's going to you mean some, instead of seeing Captain Carter her facial expression like a multiverse of madness when she gets chopped in half. We're gonna see getting torn apart and stuff. So
Right?
that sounds fun. And you have now you literally have a bigger toy box of characters to play with and to bring in. I think one of the zombies was Ghost. We haven't seen
Yes.
Ghost since Ant-Man 2.
Yeah.
So you have this big play toy box to play with, and it's animated, so you don't necessarily have to worry about getting all the actors in for stuff. It's just as fast as y'all can kind of create the stories and animate them. So I'm looking forward to a lot. That looks fun.
I'm calling it now. One of the reasons they had to put a TVMA sticker on it is because they're gonna introduce a version of Deadpool. Why
Deadpool,
else would you
yeah.
not? Why else would you not change it to TVMA?
Do
You have to do it because you need to put that character in this universe, in this series somewhere.
all the way, or does he come in at the end to like almost save them, like because he
He's
can
just
break
gonna
the fourth
drop
wall?
in to just drop an F bomb, and that'll be it.
Oh.
Actually, that's exactly what his character's there. So yeah. No, I like that idea. That he fits into that, and with his character, he could literally be the main movie version because he knows he's a he knows he's a cartoon, he knows he's a drawing, he knows he's in a movie. So yeah, it fits perfectly. I like that idea.
Perfect. Absolutely. Alrighty, we're gonna keep this train rolling here. Up next, kind of surprising news to come out of San Diego Comic Con about this, but it's all about Spider-Man Freshman Year, an animated series regarding Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but also not regarding Tom Holland's Spider-Man. I'll explain. Coming out in 2024. I know the years are bouncing everywhere, but stick with me; it gets better. Coming out in 2024 is a series regarding Peter Parker in which he doesn't get sort of mentored by Tony Stark, but instead gets mentored by the villain, his arch nemesis, Norman Osborn. Dun dun dun. So, all the speculation early on that this was going to be sort of a prequel into the MCU's Tom Holland's Peter Parker, we can now just throw that out the window. Maybe there would be certain things that you can tie or make references to, but the one thing that we all know for sure, unless they somehow figure out a way to explain this in this animated version, is that the MCU doesn't have a Norman Osborn. Not in our universe, not in the
Right.
primary universe. So this is going to be a sort of a big change in that regard.
But it also kind of works because what's literally one of the if not the biggest, one of the biggest themes of phase 4? Multiverse, right? And that's
Right.
what also kind of opens them up to these different things existing without, because I mean they did a really good job of making all these movies for 3 phases that had to connect into the one world. Now you can open that up to the animation stuff because Multiverse also showed you that some of these universes they go to are animated and paint and dinosaurs and random stuff. So, it opens that up. So, yeah, like I thought when I heard it too it was going to be a prequel, but now you show some of the stuff that they're involved with. And then have you seen like apparently it's also going to be like Peter Parker with different spider suits? Not just like the one he makes himself, like
There was like 3 or 4 I saw.
yeah, I saw concept art and I was like, "Oh, all right, this is not what I was expecting at all." So yeah, like again, just more fun stuff that I don't think if you miss it, it'll affect your following of everything. But who doesn't love Spider-Man? I mean, he's one of the biggest uh, superheroes in the world.
The theme of Marvel's animated panel is more, especially regarding Spider-Man Freshman Year, which will include villains such as Unicorn, Chameleon, Scorpion, Speed Demon, Tarantula, Rhino, and Doctor Octavius.
How many of those female villains does he used to have a crush on before he's trying to fight them? Because that
You
seems
know
like a
what?
pretty Peter Parker thing to do.
All of them, all of them.
All of them.
And I know Matt's also gonna be excited because not only is
Ooh.
Daredevil going to be making a cameo appearance in this animated series, but he's also going to be voiced by the one and only Charlie Cox. Matt, are you excited about Charlie also making an appearance in the MC animated universe?
Yeah, and the black suit. I mean, come on. It
That
looks
looks nice.
it looks great, and the fact that they're including Charlie Cox. So this is one of the first things we've seen in the animated series where we're guaranteed like a particular voice actor. I I think that I'm on board with Mike here. This is a Phase 4 rollout of a multiverse, and we'll get to the other big news later, which I think helps to confirm my theory on that. Um, but we're in a spot right now where anything can happen. And during, sorry, no spoilers. If you haven't seen our Miss Marvel review, then please turn the video off and go watch that, and then come back and start here. But
Cover your
Plug your
ears.
ears for 10 seconds, yeah.
but we got the Spider-Man theme, the old Spider-Man theme in Miss Marvel there at the end, and we know that mutants.
X-Men theme.
Yeah, right?
That's what I meant. That's what I meant. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so it's going to be crazy to see how they work this out. I think that we won't have those original six like Big Mike was talking about. That this
Yeah.
next phase that they go into for their next big trilogy is going to heavily involve some of these other characters. So I'm extremely excited. But again, we were talking earlier. Um, with a lot of these scenes look like Homecoming, the storyboards of them.
Yeah.
And you could replace Tony Stark there in any of those boards, and that's a scene from Homecoming. So I'm wondering, how all that plays out. But again, unlike with Star Wars, I trust Marvel and to handle this well. I think they'll do a good job.
And the suits that Mike
There you
was
go.
referencing
Yeah.
earlier, the 5 Spidey suits that we will at least see in the Spider-Man freshman year series on your screen
I mean,
right now.
at least 3 of them. I don't think I've seen anything like. I mean, just me.
Yeah,
Like
I
even
got you.
even playing the PS4 game, I don't think like one looks like a knight, the yellow one, and yeah, I don't
Mhm.
They
know,
gotta
it's
sell
weird.
toys, Mike. They gotta
Oh,
sell
I
toys,
got you.
bro.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the artistic direction of some of these storyboards that we've seen? Do you think this is how they're going to look in the show? That they're going to kind of stick with that '90s sort of animation style, or do you think these are just like concepts and it'll look a little bit different when we see the final product?
I would think it sticks kind of to what
I
they look
think it
like.
has that. I think so too, and it does have that sort of '90s nostalgic sort of feel to it. I think the animation would be a little smoother than it looks like. It looks like it's actually kind of '70s drawn. Those really
Yeah.
old school Marvel animated shows that used to watch on
Like the
reruns
2
and all that.
Spider-Men
But
pointing at each other.
the
The famous
absolutely,
meme.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely that one.
I love that one.
But yeah, no,
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be great. And you know what? I doubt it, but wouldn't it be horrible if like this was the way that Charlie Cox was actually sort of rumored to be back in the MCU, just
Oh, don't
voicing a version
you-
of Daredevil, and Kevin Feige's like, no, you guys misunderstood. I said he would be a part. I didn't say how he was gonna
Why?
be. That
Why
would
when you're
never
on top?
happen, but I'm
I
just saying
know,
it's funny.
but I was gonna be like, why when you're on top of the world would you purposely try to piss people off? That would be
Mhm.
horrible.
That'd be absolutely horrible. Um All right, last bit of Marvel animation news before we start talking about some other things. Oh, actually, one more. There was a bunch.
What?
There's a bunch of Spider-Man freshman year photos. Let's just run through a few of those right now. Actually, so this was one of the other concept art photos that they released during
Kind
the
of looks like the one
panel.
he creates himself at first.
Mhm.
I think so, and it's like a hockey jersey he's wearing with some knee
Yeah.
pads. There you go. So there's that one, and then there's sort of again, it has a very old style, sort of 70-ish
Almost
comic
literally like a
strip.
comic book. Yeah, I was gonna
But
say.
it definitely looks like if you drew Tom Holland in a comic book.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I know it's confusing, but I'll say it again. This is not going to be canon to Tom Holland's character, but they're going to maybe make a branch, unless they say this is some sort of multiverse branch off and just call it that. And then it's like, you did it again. You canonized everything.
Well, if you
But
multiverse, everything is canon, right? Because if it's not in your main, let's call it Infinity Saga 6-1, universe 616. I go back to it. Um, then I mean, when we saw Multiverse of Madness, there was the world where the Illuminati was in. There was the world where the darker Doctor Strange showed up. It's so easy now because you can just be like, oh yeah, that's throw three numbers together, and you're in a different universe. So,
absolutely. I was about to trail off into another discussion, but I forgot there was
oh,
one.
sorry, go ahead. My
No,
bad.
no, 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 my bad. I was about to go into another topic, but we still have one more Marvel animated series to discuss.
But
Ladies and
but
gentlemen,
again, you said 616, right? But we've also got some hints at 838. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
they could go a lot of different ways.
yeah, they really could.
Ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, regarding Marvel's animation panel, X Men '97. I know Maddie B is all about this. This was already previously announced. We do know that for sure. But let's get into the concept art for the team. As you can now see on your screen, all your OG favorites are coming back. They look absolutely glorious.
Oh my gosh.
Uh, Another concept art piece
You got
with
Forager there.
additional
Oh,
characters.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler, Bishop,
Nightcrawler.
yeah,
Sunburst.
Yeah,
Sunburst, yeah. Who Sunburst? I don't think was ever in the original series.
he was
He's
in Days of Future Past, like at the
yeah,
beginning when they all get. Yeah,
Yeah,
not the
you're right.
original. Oh, you mean the cartoon? I'm sorry.
the
I'm
cartoon,
just
yeah.
thinking of any X Men in general. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're right.
And then the villains, concept art of the villains.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's like it's maybe too on the nose, but Hellfire Club is coming and getting it going here. I
okay.
love
Could they not just put like a Easter egg Eddie Munson in the back of this somewhere?
it.
Please, please do. That is regarding the X Men '97 series, which is
Mm.
dropping this fall. Wait. I'm sorry.
No.
Don't be mad at me. Next
Yeah.
fall,
I was gonna say okay.
2023. This is a reboot of the original series. All 5 seasons of the original series can now be seen on Disney Plus. So if you need to get caught up, if you need a refresher, go back now, rewatch the first 5 seasons of the original X-Men animated series. And if you're a huge X-Men fan, the news gets better. Not only are you getting this reboot series, but they've already greenlit and confirmed a season 2 of this. So,
Wow.
all very exciting for all X-Men fans, including Jericho, who's one of the biggest X-Men fanboys I know.
So, but Magneto, did you not get
There,
to? Did you?
there's
Okay,
also a
it's
photo of Magneto. Yes.
I'm glad you brought that up because I am super excited for this, but I will say this one will be the riskiest for them because that original 90s cartoon has such a place in millennials and older generations' hearts. Like that is a cartoon right up there with Batman the animated series from the
Yeah,
90s.
yeah,
Um, it's part of if you're if, it's like if you're a nerd, it's kind of part of your DNA of that. If it goes off a little bit or there's any kind of discrepancy, you have a bigger shot of negative reaction to it.
yeah, and
When you kind of mentioned that
yeah,
um, that Magneto, it was a slightly different look. I'm sure there's more to it. There may even be a reason he looked like that at the
yeah,
time, but
and it's not just his look. He Magneto is going to be the leader of the X Men in this series.
oh,
Yes.
So
Did not hear that part, so
so
that's even more
Charles
interesting.
Xavier is not going to be the leader of the X-Men in this series. It's going to be Magneto. And so
Wanda, it's because of Wanda. This is A3. No, I'm just
yeah, yeah, exactly. But no, and then but that all kind of connects back to what we're dealing
kidding.
with here, you know.
Right.
So I'm totally down with it. It was a big risk for you to say no, Xavier. We're going to put in Magneto. That was a big
Yeah.
enough risk on its own. But they doubled down on the risk and gave him this look that is not from the. So to me that's almost like doubling down on something that fans might take the wrong
If I
way.
remember the picture, it looked like he should be on the front of a romance novel or
Yeah, it's
something.
like Fabio.
And like Mike said, there's gonna be reasons behind it. They're trying to carry forward from the original animated series, so there will be absolute reasons for why he looks the way he looks,
We
Yeah.
without a
hope
doubt.
so. I mean, yeah, we hope so.
Real quick, not to talk about it too much, but the Lord of the Rings series drops September 2nd on Amazon Prime, and it's not even called Lord of the Rings. It's called The Rings of Power. A brand new trailer dropped today, and it was absolutely incredible. Not only was Dark Lord himself, Sauron, teased in the trailer, but we got a nice, beautiful photo of the
The
return
Balrog.
of the Balrog. So yeah, totally stoked for this series. Um, it looks action packed. I didn't know what to think of it, but go check out the trailer. It's on our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram. You can go check them out after this stream, and it just looks incredible. It's a lot of actors and actresses I'm not familiar with, so I'm excited to see who they're kind of bringing into the fold and letting some new stars shine. But they spared no expense. It looks cinematic. It's high quality, big production value,
But it
and
doesn't look like Game of Thrones. That's what I was worried about leading up to the
Mm.
trailers, was that it was just going to look like Game of Thrones. And while it's set in a very, familiar, setting, it looks all its own. I'm really excited about that.
absolutely. Now we're gonna switch gears and talk about day 3 of San Diego Comic Con, the biggest day of the entire event. First of which we're going to discuss is DC Comics. It's really the Warner Brothers panel, and they go through all of their movies under Warner Brothers studio, which will include stuff like John Wick. I know there's a few others that I'm not thinking of right now, but they're also going to be talking all about DC Comics. And so, what do we know for sure that they're going to talk about? And then, what do we think they're going to talk about? We're going to leave that up to speculation and discuss those things. What do we know for sure? Well, there's 4 projects I can probably guarantee they're going to discuss tomorrow. The first of which is going to be Shazam 2, featuring Zachary Levi, as well as Black Adam featuring Dwayne The Rock Johnson. We've already seen teasers for both. We'll probably see full trailers tomorrow. You're going to have the actors on stage discussing the film. It's going to be fantastic. Everybody's going to love it. There's also 2 more projects I can probably um, guess they'll discuss. First of which is Batgirl. Batgirl is going to be a film that's going to be on the HBO Max streaming service. And then I also am curious if they're going to show anything regarding the Blue Beetle movie, which was going to be on HBO Max, but is now going to be a theatrical release and features Zolo Mariduena. I always forget how to say his name. And the movie project that I'm not exactly sure if they're going to discuss or talk about at all is The Flash.
Why
Um,
not?
for
Oh
some
my gosh.
obvious reasons,
Woo.
Or
I
Aquaman
we
2,
have
maybe?
no idea. They absolutely could, but
Yeah.
the things that we have sort of coming up really soon are the ones I talked about. And but you're right, Aquaman 2 has already been filming. There's a good chance they might have a scissor reel prepared for it, and maybe not go into it uh, fully, but
Might
they
have some
they
recasting.
might
Who
surprise
knows?
us. Who knows, right? If they really wanted to surprise the fans, bring out Michael Keaton. Like just roll out Michael Keaton and say, "Yeah, I'm working on Batgirl. Yeah, I'm working on Flash. Both are going to be great." And good night, and that's it. Like no questions, no nothing. Just walk them out, walk them back. That's it.
Is WB starting to get like the Warner Brothers with their properties starting to get a bit like WWE? They have to bring back the old legend to kind of like
Mhm.
here's Keaton Batman, here's Hulk Hogan. You remember that when it wasn't so
Remember
crazy?
this guy? Subject. You see that?
Right.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's interesting. It's so weird how much drama follows this studio and these properties. I guess
It's crazy.
It
it's
really like
no studio is without its drama, but WB and DC is just consistent.
yeah,
These are guaranteed bangers. The movies and shows that they have,
should be. Yeah.
and
They should be, yeah.
the lack of awareness and management from the heads of this studio is an abomination to how magical the DC universe is. My gosh, it drives me
Yeah.
nuts. And they've actually driven themselves into a corner so much that they might have to kill the Flash. They might have to release this movie, and the Flash dies at the end, and then not carry forward with him anymore. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, how do you get yourself out of this hole? And they don't know either.
And that movie was supposed to be like a reboot, kind of like, oh,
Yeah,
some of those Snyder characters, we're not going to see them. But and yeah,
yeah.
I mean, is Peacemaker the new face of DC? I mean,
The DC
that was
universe?
great. I mean,
I
Um,
mean,
the
the series
Pattinson
was great.
Batman was
Yeah,
get John
Pattinson as
Cena and The
well.
Rock. It is like wrestling. Never mind.
It
but
is like wrestling.
speaking of the live,
Batista, where you at, Batista? He's the one that's left.
um but yeah, I don't know what they can do. I've heard rumors of Henry Cavill. Is that gonna happen?
That
I
was the
mean,
next thing to talk about, and if anybody
oh.
hasn't heard, I apologize in advance, but the
Sorry.
rumors are no, you're fine.
Well, it's
No,
a rumor. Nothing's
it's a
confirmed.
Yeah,
rumor,
yeah,
nothing
Yeah.
confirmed. But there's too many rumors now to ignore.
Hmm.
So yes, there is talks that Henry Cavill will, in some shape, way, or form, in some capacity, appear or make an appearance at San Diego Comic-Con. There's been reports that say he's halfway around the world working on other projects, so it's not
Witcher
possible.
3 or season 3.
mhm.
Absolutely. So a number of things could happen. So, well, look who it is who waited for this moment to happen to barge in, JC.
Oh
What
God,
timing?
it's
Hey,
restore the
perfect timing.
Snyderverse
Now that
crew.
now that we're talking Superman, this is like the best part of the show. So I figured I'd pop in.
Yeah.
Nice shirt,
Ooh,
by the way, Mike. It looks good on
yeah,
you.
thanks.
Yeah.
What about my shirt?
I couldn't even see it. Oh, that's a great one too.
Okay, so let's get down to the nitty gritty, and
Hold
I'll
on a
go
second.
around and ask you gentlemen what you think about it. We can't pause. It's a live stream, JC.
Man, have you been on the
Anyways,
WrestleCast? We get pop-ins and run-ins, and there's like cats and kids all the time, man.
That's,
Okay, that,
well,
since
it's the
cameras
man
falling
behind the magic.
down.
since
Yeah.
we know where you guys stand, let me say a few things before we get too far. Because JC and Steady know I give them such a hard time about DC and stuff. But in all honesty, and I've told them this, I don't hate these characters and stuff. I'm just super annoyed at what had to happen because of, like we talked about earlier, WB's bungling of these things. And
Yes.
honestly, like I don't hate. I mean, I Henry Cavill's a great Superman. Not the best Clark Kent to me, but he is a solid Superman because he is built. He looks intimidating, like you think Superman should. And I'm down with that. But the mess that even before like the Flash and Mira stuff came up, like the mess that WB put their DC stuff through to where you had to release a Snyder cut because things got so messed up, and it's
You lost
frustrating.
Batman. You lost Ben Affleck. I mean,
Yeah, and it's
The
just
fact
frustrating.
that we haven't gotten a director's cut of Suicide Squad, which from what I understand would be so much better. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree because WB didn't just sit back on their hands and shut the hell up and let Zack Snyder's vision come to fruition, which Steady and I have said from the beginning needed to happen. If they hadn't gotten involved, we'd be talking about a different story. There never would have been a Justice League. There never,
Right.
that sort of thing. That's the mistakes they made. So
But
I get it.
imagine the DC fans at San Diego Comic Con. We're talking the mecca of Comic Cons, and you're a DC fan, and you're looking at this rollout from Marvel, and all of these things, and you're going to get this weak ASS announcements from WB about what they're doing, and they might have to bring in Henry Cavill just to release the extended director's cut of the same movie you've seen twice. I mean, who cares? They got to do something and actually hold it together for long enough to get through a trilogy of movies like Marvel did.
Yeah.
The one thing that's most peculiar to me is not the fact that Henry is rumored to sort of make an appearance at Comic Con, but it was the way that it's worded. The only thing that was said was not the word announcement, not the word reveal, but the exact phrase was Henry Cavill will come to San Diego Comic Con to talk up Superman. It sounds in that way like he's just coming out to be a hype man or be at a pep rally, and that is
Superman.
not what any of the fans want at all.
Tom Welling in
They're-
the house. What's up?
Right? Multiverse of Superman.
Yeah.
So none of the fans are looking for a hype man. None of the fans are looking for this sort of pep talk regarding the Man of Steel. The only thing that we're concerned with is whether he's going to be in a solo film. That's what's the target. The goal is a solo film. If he comes out and all he says is, I'm going to put on the suit again, I'm going to go head to head with Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam, either in the next movie of his or in Shazam 2 in an end credit scene, or maybe there's a film with Dwayne Johnson in which Black Adam and Superman go head to head. That I will also be thrilled with. But what fans really want, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is just a solo film regarding the Man of Steel. And this is something that we've sort of discussed a lot over the years because Dwayne Johnson and Henry Cavill also have the same manager. Dwayne's ex-wife manages the both of them and their movie careers. So this was always sort of like a speculation. One day we're going to see these two in a film, and they're just going to make a killing. She's going to double dip. She's going to make money off both of them in the same movie. So it was always something that was talked about by fans, and this could be the reason why he's here to tell us a new movie's coming out featuring Black Adam and Superman. That's what we at least hope for. I still want a solo film though of Henry to be made, and if not, he'll just make a cameo, and somehow Warner Brothers will erase him after that, and at least it'll be something.
Wasn't that the original plan for Man of Steel 2?
Any last thoughts? What's that?
To have Black Adam be the villain in Man of Steel 2? Wasn't that like the original plan?
I think
It's
that
been a
was.
I thought it was Brainiac.
That was one of the two. I don't know.
But
Yeah, I
I
thought it was
have one little
Brainiac.
idea.
No point.
To just like No Way Home, you get multiple Supermen versus multiple Batman, and you do Dawn of Justice 2. So it's like Henry Cavill, Tom Welling, and the guy from the CW versus Affleck, Keaton. Is there any other Batman we could pick up? What's his name from the animated series? Who does the voice? Kevin Kilroy.
Kevin Conroy.
Kevin
Conroy.
There you go. You do 3-on-3 No Way Home style.
So basically, do what they did in the CW Arrowverse when they did the Crisis. So
Are we gonna deny that CW's done their superheroes mostly better than the WB movies?
for the most part, yeah. But I mean, we already
Mostly.
know the thing is the Crisis already happened. We kind of got that in canon when what's his face showed up on Flash. So
DC can I know. It's like DC can manage to mess up their stuff right now because
I know.
In all seriousness, though, I know you're talking about Superman. I am looking to the Blue Beetle one because
Yes.
I do like the representation coming in with the kid from not
Cobra Kai.
Karate Kid, but yeah, I was gonna say Cobra Kai, and that seems really cool. And just like with the Marvel being very diverse in this Phase 4 with their stuff, I would love to see that kind of coming in. I mean, you got The Rock, you got this kid coming in, you've got
Batgirl.
Supergirl being played, Batgirl, Supergirl
Uh-huh.
being played by a Hispanic actor. So I am actually looking forward to some of those things. And in all seriousness, I really do hope WB finds a way to get their DC stuff back on track, because like it's kind of like we synergy with wrestling. When wrestling is good with both companies, it's just all you can eat buffet. If they're both great, all the much better, because then it's just content out the ears. That's what we want as nerds. So
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
that's something I've always tried to tell you, Mike. DC fans are, I would argue, are just as passionate as wrestling fans, and it has nothing to do with Snyder's Justice League. You look at the Young Justice thing.
yeah.
You look at the campaign to bring Krypton back. I mean,
And in all
Ted can tell
fairness,
you all
Swamp
about
Thing.
Young
my
Justice.
view of
Swamp
DC
Thing,
fans is
yes,
basically you and Steady. So
yeah, I know, but I mean, the news we're going to talk about today on the WrestleCast shortly after this is,
But is there much news for today? I was
I
kind
mean,
of
there's a
busy.
little
Oh,
bit, and
haven't heard
it
anything.
might have
Yeah.
something to do
Yeah,
with
stick
what's
around,
going on.
guys. We'll be talking wrestling after
Yeah,
this.
so yeah.
Matty B, any other projects you would want to see announced from DC, or what are you most excited to see during their panel?
I just want an idea. I want something. I just if they could just say something smart, that would be awesome.
It's a very low
Uh,
bar, guys. It's a very
I,
low bar. Come on, Warner
I want
Brothers.
them to come out and publicly say, we're going to release this Flash movie, but we're going to kill this guy at the end because this guy is nuts. So we want Flash
dude.
out of the DC universe, and that's about it for me as far as that goes. It's my favorite. I don't like Marvel anywhere near as much as I like DC. So I just want to give me something to hope for. That's all I'm
There you
asking.
go. That's it. Not much, guys. Not much
I
at all.
hope the symbol means hope, right? That's why they're
Yeah.
bringing Henry Cavill back. So
Yeah. Hey, look at that,
look at
JC.
that. Look at that.
What
Yeah.
that's the man behind the magic.
Brett says he would love a Flashpoint movie, and the Flash movie is going to be some sort of variation of Flashpoint, not the exact story that we all know from the graphic novel. But yeah, no, that would be exciting. We were just talking, Brett, about we don't know if they'll talk about the Flash movie at all because of all the controversy that's been
You mean Batman
surrounding
89 3?
that's
When it
been
turns out.
surrounding Ezra Miller.
uh,
Lastly, I'll just say that kind of like what Matt said, but I'll say it in a different way. We want sort of a very transparent idea of the future for DC. The last time I was at a Hall H panel for DC, the theme of the panel was the worlds of DC, and they were talking about all these movies that were going to take place in separate storylines, and it was sort of like a very unique, thought out vision. But it's like, where is that vision gone now? It hasn't really led to anything, and we're sort of just left with just contemplating that what's coming in the future. So have absolutely no idea, where they're headed, and we just want to know exactly where they're headed. So show us everything that you're working on right now. Give us a timeline. Show us the connective tissue a little bit. We don't need the spoilers, but we just want to see some connective tissue, because that's all anybody cares about these days is the crossover. What does this movie mean to this movie? How is this movie going to affect the next movie? Like, when you can pull off those components and those aspects, when you can tell a coherent story across multiple films, then you're actually putting in the legwork, and fans will actually appreciate it, no matter if the movie's like hit or miss, because you're actually taking those additional steps. You're making the effort to sort of wow the fans in the audience. Like, you're really putting your heart and your passion into these projects, and that's all we really care about, is to see that. not to see like our favorite actors or TV shows just get canceled after a season or two. Krypton, Swamp Thing, Young Justice the first time, all these shows, now Legends of Tomorrow, now Supergirl, like everything that fans have been appreciating over the years gets canceled in one season, two season, three seasons, four seasons, and we're sort of just left with like, well, what's next? What's left? What can we enjoy? And you're not canceling shows that have really had question marks on them, like Titans, for example, which is just not coherent whatsoever. There is no
The
linear
last season was
story
out
being
of the
told.
last season was weird. They were high when they wrote the last season of Titans.
Holy crap. And
You know,
we like
yeah.
those characters. We love those characters. We
Oh yeah.
spend the
Of
time
one of the
watching the
few DC
shows.
things I have watched, yeah, it's really out there.
Yeah. Now Doom Patrol, I know it's jacked up, but you expect that, and it's great.
Right, it's supposed
You
to
know,
be. Yeah.
but yeah, Krypton, for example, a best live action on screen version of Doomsday and Brainiac I've ever seen. And then you
What?
brought Lobo into the mix. He was supposed to get a spin-off series, and then blah. It's it sucks. And the shitty part is I got an early read of what the opening of the next season would have been, and it's like, how do you miss that up? How do you not go for that? It's an interesting story, but I don't know.
Brett,
It's if HBO Max doesn't pick it up, I've always said you might as well just like continue it as an animated series. Why not? Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum have thought about continuing Smallville as an animated series for a long time. So,
Mhm.
but now they're just podcasts talking about all the episodes, and it's pretty entertaining. If you
I
guys,
bet
ever,
it,
yeah, it
I
is.
bet
It
it
is.
is. I bet.
Yeah,
Brett's also in the chat says Death in the Family, which is one of my favorite DC comic storylines, Death in the Family, regarding the death of Dick Grayson, which never should have happened, but that's a different story for a different time. We're going to switch gears from DC to Marvel Studios now, and this is going to be our speculation about what they're going to talk about and what we actually want to see from Marvel. So, first, what I'm actually going to do is discuss the projects that we sort of already know are going to be taking place. And then, gentlemen, I want you guys to also talk to me about what you would really want to see from Marvel, not necessarily what we expect, but what are some of the other projects that you hope get announced tomorrow. So, first of which, Secret Invasion, which I believe is still supposed to drop in January, unless that's changed. We should see hopefully a teaser or something regarding Secret Invasion, which honestly looks entertaining. Samuel Jackson's back, Amelia Clark's in it.
That's
They got a
awesome. Yeah.
bunch of great actors for Secret Invasion, so I'm really intrigued about what that's going to be. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is still supposed to drop in February of next year. They've already previously announced Echo, which the cast list for Echo is incredible. They're bringing so many great actors from a variety of things that you've seen before. They've already announced prior in prior panels Guardians of the Galaxy 3. They're already started working on Loki season 2. They've previously announced Marvels. They've previously announced Ironheart. They've previously announced Armor Wars, and they've previously announced at the last San Diego Comic Con that they held in 2019, Blade featuring Mahershala Ali. The things that have also been discussed, but we haven't had a whole lot of information for the series for Agatha House of Harkness, the Daredevil series that was kind of announced, but we haven't had a lot of information about. There was the Wonder Man series that's sort of been talked about in various articles. There's also the Fantastic Four movie that was announced at the last San Diego Comic Con Marvel panel that they had. And did I already mention Wonder Man? They've already talked about
Kind of
Wonder
talked about
Man.
that.
Yeah, okay. And then I think there's oh, and then how can I forget? Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever is probably also on the itinerary for things that will be discussed for sure.
Isn't
At
that
least we
supposed to be
hope
out at the
so.
end of the year?
It is supposed to be out November
Yeah.
11th. So they're cutting it close. We should get our first full
Trailer.
trailer hopefully tomorrow. If not, teaser tomorrow and then full trailer in a couple of months, and then they'll be ready to roll come November 11th. Lupita Nyong'o actually released on TikTok, I believe, that the movie was going to drop on November 11th. I don't know if that was previously known or if they just knew November was going to be the month, but yeah, November 11th, the
Um,
release date for Wakanda Forever. Ah, my apologies. Also, She-Hulk, Attorney at Law, we've already seen trailers for that already. And let's stop there. I think those are the projects that have already previously been announced that they can possibly talk about. But gentlemen, we're not here to talk about what we know they're going to discuss. I want to hear from you gentlemen what you would like to see them discuss. What have I already not mentioned that you absolutely need to have announced or previewed, some sort of logo released tomorrow during Marvel Studios panel? Matty B, I'm going to start with you, sir. What do you absolutely need to see from Marvel tomorrow during their panel?
How the X Men are going to factor into the MCU moving forward. I
All right.
wouldn't be surprised if maybe we get a little bit of hint at in the Marvels that we might see an Easter egg or a cameo from one of the X Men, being that they were kind of tying that at the end of Miss Marvel, and maybe that could lead us into how we head into the future as far as the new mainstays in the MCU.
Sure.
I'm super excited for that, and then Ant Man. I'm a big Ant Man guy. Give me some Ant Man news. I
yes,
love Paul Rudd, and
right there
I'm
with
super
you.
excited about that. But there's so much that they can talk about, and we might actually learn a little bit more from what they don't talk about, because there's a few of these projects have seemed on the back burner for some time, and whether they just completely get removed from the stove or not. Where are we actually going to go with this? So I'm kind of excited to see what they're really highlighting and what they don't mention, so maybe I can kind of take those off of my hope list.
Gotcha, gotcha. Mike, same question, sir. What do you absolutely need to see tomorrow that I haven't mentioned regarding Marvel's panel?
Well, the first one's kind of a personal one because now that they're slowly reintroducing characters that were in Marvel, not MCU related shows like Daredevil. There's rumors of Jessica Jones showing up, either in She-Hulk or part of Echo, and they're slowly bringing not all of them. Iron Fist seems to be left off the potential bring back from Netflix shows, but I was a huge fan, at least of the early seasons, and I kind of kept through all of it, of Agents of Shield. So I would love to see Chloe Bennett's Quake back in Secret Wars. That's a rumor that's been ramping up again. Um, I would honestly love to see Clark Gregg. And now that you have multiverse, if you want to bring in some sort of other dimension, Coulson, I would love that because I loved his character to really expanded on Agents of Shield. So that's kind of a personal one. Um, but there's just so more. Like we were talking about earlier, I love so many of the characters they have already introduced through Phase Four. And as much as I want to know stuff about, like I kind of want to know what the Fantastic Four cast is going to look like. I would love to know more information too about X Men because to me, what happened in Miss Marvel was really just allowing them to say that word. I don't know if it has to be attached to Miss Marvel, but in previous they weren't allowed to use the word mutant because they didn't have the rights for a long time, and that's why they tried to do Inhumans, and then that failed. He said the word mutation, so I think it just allows it to exist now, and then you can go into these other places. But I kind of go back. I would honestly like. I mean, I guess it's kind of hard to announce specifically. I would really like to see where these current Phase Four characters start intermingling with each other, because, like I said, you have amazing characters: Kate Bishop, Yelena Belova, Shang Chi, Miss Marvel. Now you have all these great characters. Moon Knight was kind of off on his own. It'd be great to see him interact with a Daredevil, with your street level people around there. So I don't know if there's anything I want. Like I said, obviously, I would love to see some of those characters come back from Agents of Shield, but I just really want to see more of what's the possibility of interactions connecting. Also, with Black Panther 2, they're supposed to be introducing Neymar, and he's going to be supposedly influenced by either Aztec or Mayan culture. So it's a Hispanic guy, in the role. So I love that. It's just a wealth of content coming. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've also heard those rumors regarding his origins being sort of changed. Atlantis being changed. Now it's
Right.
sort of off the coast of either Mexico
South
or
America,
South
mainly. Yeah.
America, something like that. Yeah. That's really intriguing. Probably not, I mean, far fetched because of how like vast the treasure in the Mayan
Excuse me.
civilization was, and
Right.
um, how sort of broad their knowledge and technology was. So yeah, probably not too far fetched to do that. Brett also says,
Ooh.
"Give us the X-Men that we deserve with the Sentinels. Thank you, sir. Good day." Uh, Joseph's in the chat.
He didn't like Days of Future Past. Jesus. All right.
It's all good. Do it better, yes. Joe
Yeah.
says, "Hello, gentlemen. What's up, Joe? What's going on, sir? Good to see you again." Brett says, "Taika's version of World War Hulk would be good." Ooh, World War Hulk would also
So
be a solid
I
project if they
heard
were
a
to
rumor that
announce it.
they could do that as a Disney Plus series because they don't have the movie rights, but a
Oh,
series would be a different thing.
that
So
makes some
that would be a
sense.
way to go. Yeah.
Yeah, that
That
depends how
that
the
makes some
contract lands
sense.
at Universal, but yeah, that's very true. Mhm.
That makes some sense there. And last but not least, JC, give us what you absolutely need to see presented by Marvel tomorrow that I have not mentioned yet.
Yeah, Deadpool kills the Marvel universe. Just give
Yes.
me that one time, even if it's the next Deadpool movie. If you make it a what if episode, just for the hell of it. I don't care if you do a whole movie and then it's a dream sequence. That'd be hilarious. Although I wouldn't mind Ryan Reynolds doing an animated version of Deadpool and what if, and then just he kills everybody. That'd just be
Were
funny to,
Were you
you know.
watching when we were talking about Marvel Zombies earlier?
No, I wasn't, unfortunately.
That's one of the things we talked about, and Steady was saying like drop him into Marvel Zombies. It would
Yeah,
because apparently it's going to be mature rated as a cartoon. So
I like I've
be
said
perfect.
before. Once they bought Fox, I said, we don't have Stanley for the cameos anymore. But if you want to have the PG-13 ratings, you just have Deadpool randomly show up, drop an F bomb, and leave, and he's the one F bomb in the whole movie to keep PG-13. So, but honestly, I would like to see something announced around America Chavez. Whether that's a series, a movie, something. I think she was such a great character in Doctor Strange that I think her origin and her story should be explored more. And I would love to see that, especially with the success of Miss Marvel. I would like to see America Chavez as like something around her. So
Yeah,
I
down with
love
that
all you
too.
guys. I love all the ideas. It's absolutely great. When
Deadpool,
we
yeah.
last talked about, I don't remember what stream it was, but somebody in the chat brought up, I think, the possibility of there no longer being Avenger films,
Oh,
and
that was
I
me.
there you go, that was Mike, and
As their tent pole is like the markers of yeah.
I thought about that, and I'm just like, nah. I still need those checkpoints in the MCU. So what I want to see, and I'm not going to claim to be like a fortune teller or anything like that if this happens, because I think it's just so on par with their plan, is for them to have those team up movies still called Avenger films. And the
Yeah.
Avenger films, what's up, Jay? The Avenger
What's
films
up?
are going to look very
I
different for
have
obvious
really nice
reasons.
ones, but yeah. So
The Avengers movies are going to look very different for obvious reasons that we don't need to talk about and discuss.
Uh-huh.
But I still think we're going to have movies labeled Avengers this, Avengers that. There's rumors that because they've already talked about Kang being sort of the new Thanos of this phase or a future phase, that there will be an Avengers Kang movie where they go up against him. And yeah, again, I'm not gonna claim to like break any news or blow anybody's heads wide open with that information, but I still want to see Marvel movies
I got
called
you.
out. I still want to see Marvel movies called out. The Russo brothers this week also have been talking about a Secret Wars movie. So anytime they're talking about Marvel, I feel like it has something more to do with it than just rumors or speculation. So anytime they're in the news regarding anything Marvel Studios, I take that with more than a grain of salt. I feel like they're just being coy and they're teasing fans, and so I absolutely think they're going to do some sort of Marvel project in the future. Um, give me
Jay,
Galactus.
what do you want to see next?
Um, Spider-Man.
Oh, I know who he wants to see.
The Spider Verse.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's ready to see Miles
Sonic,
Morales.
Sonic v Deadpool 3.
He want to see Sonic 3. He loves the tease of spoiler alert Shadow at the end of Sonic 2. So yeah, hey, Sonic Speed your butt back to bed. All right, good night. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Go.
You know, and
No
I'll
assaulting
say, like,
kids on the stream.
Yeah.
you know, first of all, like, each of y'all mentioned things that I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Like, there is so much that they have going on. Like, we didn't even talk about the potential young Avengers that are just slowly being introduced and set up. Y- like, especially with the Phase 4, you can set up. I don't know if it's called like what A Force or, but like a largely female contained group with all the characters they have introduced. There is so much that it almost makes me think that, as opposed to where all the movies kind of came back to the Infinity Saga in the first three phases, maybe this phase going forward is like a multi-pronged. Maybe it's not one thing. Maybe there's the Earth threat, there's the multiverse threat, there's the cosmic threat. Maybe it's not one that engulfs everything. Maybe it's a multifaceted, because you have so many characters. You have Earth characters, you have space characters, you have multiverse, Quantum Mania type characters. Like, it's so much now. Like, we talked about that big toy box to play with, that maybe it's not one thing, it's a multifaceted threat of several or a few different enemies that they have to deal with.
I like it. Matt, you want to piggyback off that? Any thoughts about what Mike just said? Put you on the spot. My bad.
No, it's okay. No, I'm on the same page. 100%. They've set themselves up where they can go anywhere.
Yeah.
So how can we really guess? We can guess, and it's fun too. But who knows? They could do anything they want the way they've set it up.
Well, we need content. That's why we're making guesses. That's kind of how it works. So.
Can I tell you that I did guess, and I've been guessing, and I've been wrong about Marvel like this entire phase. As soon as we saw Loki, and this goes for like everything, right? As soon as I saw Loki, I was all in. Like, hey, listen, everything's gonna change. Every project from now on is gonna be impacted. This is gonna be beautiful. Everything's gonna be changed, and it's gonna blow our minds. Nothing's happened. Nothing has happened. Loki's done nothing to any other project so far. So now I'm taking a step back, and my only thought is now Marvel's going to take their sweet time. I think Miss Marvel's is probably the best example of what their plan is. Their plan is solo projects, all of Phase 4. Check. Next phase, um duo team ups, like buddy cop movies going forward. Now you're going to take sort of characters from the series projects and team them up with one previous historical MCU character. You know why? Because there's like 3 dozen characters to talk about and choose from. You can't put them all together right away. So it's going to be almost like a Marvel pyramid scheme, right? You start off with one on the first row, then you go up to 2 all across the board, then you start bringing them together, 3 all across the board. We'll get to a team up eventually where we're going to see another 30 characters in one movie in like 4 years, and that's going to be their plan. But they're going to be stacking these storylines and characters on top of each other that way. That's my big new theory now. Marvel's going to take their time. That's just what I see happening. So with the Marvels, you have Kamala Khan and Brie Larson now teaming up, and I know there's the other character, I can't remember her name right now, but I just feel like that's Photon sounds right. That's how it's just going to go from here on out, like small team ups leading to bigger things. No longer Avengers 2, Avengers 1, major team ups. You're kind of having to build bigger building blocks leading up to those major team up crossovers.
I mean, don't forget Avengers 1 was 6 characters brought together, and at the time it was revolutionary,
Six,
right?
but then you also had Loki, and you also had
Yeah,
Coulson.
okay,
Like the
but like
supporting
less
characters
less
are
than
also
10,
sure.
right? And even Age of Ultron, you added the twins in, you added Ultron, um, and then you get to
Claw,
Endgame,
yeah,
yeah. Then you get to Endgame, and like you said, it's like 30. So we're not, Phase 4 is not take Endgame and go, and keep growing. It's the fallout of Endgame and introducing a new crop to be the next 10 years of movies. So it's a little bit of
sure.
both. So yeah, it's a lot.
Brett says he's surprised that we haven't seen Mr. Sinister show up anywhere yet. I would second that. He
Well,
also
he's
says
coming in the X-Men, the animated
Yeah, I
X-Men
would
series.
imagine.
Yeah,
97. You're gonna get him in the
yeah.
animated series for sure.
Oh yeah.
Brett also says Alpha Flight. Gotta rep the Canadians.
Look at
I'm
the
down
next
with
one that
that.
goes with that. Yeah.
And he says, think about it, guys. Alpha Flight, though. Seriously, you could have a cameo with Wolverine and Deadpool finally. Have Deadpool telling Wolverine how annoying Canadians are or something. I don't
Pretty
know
good
if it's
idea. Yeah.
well yeah.
Hey, yeah, he was.
It is I don't know if it's a bombshell revelation or not, but I feel like a few months back it was either Hugh Jackman that came out and said, "Oh yeah, Deadpool 3 was just going to be like a car ride buddy cop movie with Deadpool and Wolverine, just like getting into nonsense the entire time." That was going to be the premise of Deadpool 3, and if obviously it didn't pan out because Hugh Jackman was just a really busy guy after Logan ended. So is there going to be a Deadpool 3 that sort of fits in that sort of same vein where it's going to be like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and him just like getting into nonsense the entire time? I'm down for that movie. As you can tell from my Thor Love and Thunder review, I like the comical versions of Marvel. Like when it's just a straight comedy movie getting into mayhem and nonsense. I like those refreshing projects. So yeah, give me that all day long. I'll be down for that.
Just as long as we see Logan and Deadpool recreate the song "The Other Side" from The Greatest Showman, that would be freaking hilarious.
And
If
more
they,
Nickelback.
yeah,
I do love that idea. I do think Hugh Jackman's going to show up with Ryan Reynolds at some point now that he's in this MCU. I do think though that this Deadpool 3 is actually going to be more Deadpool like fish out of water, getting used to the MCU and trying to figure out how he fits in with this whole crazy world. Like I think it's actually going to be a little bit more down that route. And looking forward. I know JC said kill the Deadpool kills the MCU,
Marvel
which would be
Universe.
great. But even if it's not that big, I want to see the cameos of current MCU stars in Deadpool 3. Like I want to see some good cameos with him messing with those characters.
Just the
It would
post
be great.
credits, he still has that time watch that he got from cable. He's jumping back in time when they're doing the whole Infinity War Endgame thing with the stones, and he's like in the background when he sees Captain Steve Rogers fighting himself, like fight, that
Yeah.
just little things like that. Just have some
That
fun
is
with.
it is America's ass.
Yeah, yes. I really wanted like an end credit scene where he showed up after Endgame and was like, "Hey, I'm here, guys. We're done." God
He
damn,
comes through the portal late.
yeah, he's like, "Oh fuck," and that's it. Yeah, there's your PG-13.
Sorry.
But,
Taxi. I left
yeah,
all my weapons in the taxi.
yeah.
Callback.
That was a great
As
picture, by the
shared
way.
as
Get him before
shared
they go back
by
in the vault.
Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, I was laughing myself. Yes.
You can
Also
now get
the
Deadpool, Deadpool 2, and Logan on the Disney Plus streaming service. And isn't it a little interesting that they saved this transition over to Disney Plus for the week right before Comic Con happens?
sure it
So
was completely
maybe
a
they're
coincidence.
actually
Sure there was nothing to it.
Nah.
nothing at all, nothing whatsoever. Maybe they're priming the fans for what's to come. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that just blow the roof off of Hall H? If Henry Cavill is not going to blow the roof off of Hall H if he makes an appearance, Hugh Jackman coming back to announce some sort of other
Involvement.
project as Wolverine will also just blow the entire roof off of it.
Yeah.
Maddie B, any final thoughts regarding Marvel or DC tomorrow?
No, let's just see what happens. I'm excited to kind of talk about it. We've covered most of that. I really just want to make sure that these folks get over to the WrestleCast once we wrap up here, because it's been such a light day of news in the wrestling world.
Yeah, it'd
It's
probably be like
it's
a
actually
5 minute show. Not much going
yeah.
on.
So they're actually going to do a tribute to the great Chris Benoit, and
Oh,
that'll go on for
oh,
You were
some time.
really trying to kill our viewership. There goes the
no kidding. We are not, guys.
And that's our show. Good night.
And a John Cena this one.
kill the
Yeah.
vibe. Jesus Christ.
Wow.
He could have been walk kill the vibe. Yeah, that was not poor choice of words on my part.
Yeah.
Gosh.
So
Yeah.
Jason-
Stevie Richards is the official name that was joked for while replacing him and everything. So we'll talk about Stevie Richards.
Stevie Richards.
JC, any final thoughts about Marvel or DC tomorrow?
No, I mean, I said what I needed to say there. Just give me something fun. I would love for Ryan Reynolds to show up and actually have physical VHS versions of Deadpool, Deadpool 2, and Logan, and ready to hand those out. Get them before they go back in the vaults. That'd just be hilarious to me, and have them listed as the classics like he had on the VHS. I think that was a great Photoshop job, but a part of me really wants those to be real. It's just
great shelf items.
yeah, great
Oh,
show.
fantastic.
And in widescreen VHS. You don't see those, are so rare.
Big Mike, last but not least, any final thoughts about Marvel or
yeah,
DC
look,
tomorrow?
MCU Marvel, I have faith. Like I have no doubts that it's going to be cool stuff. But in all seriousness, WB DC, bring me back. I am ready. Give me something to jump into. Blue Beetle. I mean, honestly, like Shazam was a pretty fun movie. I enjoyed that. You got The Rock now in a pretty significant role, right? You bring me back, man. I'm ready. I want to. Like I said, when everything is great, then it's better for everybody. So like Maddie kind of said, get a direction, get something, a straight line, 3 movies that connect, so there's something, and I'm ready. Like they have great characters. They had good stuff on there. I finally admitted when we did the Snyderverse cut, if a 3-hour version of that movie had shown up originally, I'd have loved it. It would have been fine.
And thank you for having an open mind as much as you've given a shit over the years. But I'm with you, and I really
I'm
hope
ready. Like seriously.
Yeah. Now that being said, we're a week away from League of the Super Pets. So.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see what happens. And I'll just
There you
say,
go, Brett.
if for nothing else, you need to pay attention to the Black Adam panel, because Dwayne Johnson doesn't go low key on anything. So just expect the absolute biggest impact, the biggest entrance in SDCC history. He'll probably swing from like the back of the Hall H, which is like 150 yards back, and just just swing all the way to the stage or something. He'll pull out all the stops. He'll make it bigger than life, and that's, if nothing else, that's worth the just viewing the WB DC Comics panel.
He's gonna walk carrying Kevin Hart and just throw him across all age.
Okay, JC, connecting this back to wrestling, we were not big for the back-to-back WrestleManias of 27, 28, whatever it was. But you bring me Peacemaker versus Black Adam, and I'm down for Rock Cena 3. Give me as Peacemaker versus Black Adam.
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
They established Peacemaker's in the same Earth as the entire Justice League.
Peacemaker was such a great series, man.
I can't wait for season 2.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Last but not least, I'm going to finish on this. After San Diego Comic-Con is over, we're going to be just talking nonstop about the Superhero Car Show and Comic-Con going down in San Antonio, August 4th through 7th. Your chance to meet Ewan McGregor, Simu Liu, Dave Bautista, Haley Atwell, Giancarlo Esposito, Stephen Amell, and the one and only Hulk Hogan, and many, many, many more is going to go down in our hometown. Also, a slew of movie and TV famous cars are going to be there as well. The Countdown City Geekcast will be in attendance, bringing you coverage from the event, and also my Ghostbuster nonprofit organization, Charity Brothers, are going to be there as well, meeting and greeting with fans. So we can't wait. It's going to be a tremendous event. Go to pmxevents.com for more information, pmxevents.com, or you can also go to Celebrity Fan Fest on Facebook for more. It's going to be a tremendous event. We're going to be covering it every day, all 4 days. And we're also going to be throwing an after party on Saturday, August 6th, time and location to be revealed very soon. For the
That's awesome.
Countdown City. Definitely, it's a pool party. Bring your speedos. From the Countdown City Geekcast, my name is Steady. Joining me on the San Diego Comic Con Day 1 and 2 recap as the one and only Matty B.
Yeah.
We also got Big Mike.
What's up, guys? Don't go too far. Take a quick bathroom break and stick around because, as Jason's going to tell you, we'll be back in a few with the WrestleCast.
And last but definitely not least, the man, the myth, the legend himself, JC.
Mike said it. Go grab a drink. We do have something to celebrate on the WrestleCast. I think you guys already know.
Oh, gosh. Shout out to Rudy. Shout out to Brett. Shout out to Joe in the chat. Always appreciate you guys joining us. We'll see you in a few days when we recap day 3 of